Hello, Red Wave. Welcome to Bulldogs podcast. We're your hosts, Caleb and Caleb. That's right. We'll make it easy on you. We're here to talk Fresno State football, and today to specifically preview the game against New Mexico this Saturday, the last one in Bulldog Stadium. I feel like it just started, Caleb. The season just started. I was just starting to get in the swing of things for, where Bulldogs and podcast season and things like that. And now football season's almost over. I can't believe this.
Yeah, I agree. The season's flown by. Dogs are 8-2, and I think coming off the loss to San Jose State, it feels like much worse, I think, for the fan base in general. I think if we were at the beginning of the season saying 8-2, probably feeling okay. Like, yeah, we got a good shot to win, the conference championship still. But, we still do. We definitely still do. And the team has a lot to play for still. But coming off that loss, it feels like a lot of the wind has been kind of taken out of the sails. Who knows what kind of crowd is going to show up on Saturday, especially with the forecast. Stay tuned for that. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting week, and the weather's changing a little bit. Got some rain coming in. I know that impacted you, this week. So yeah, just kind of weird that the season has flown by, but hopefully the Dogs still have 3 more games after this.
Yes, they will. I can guarantee you they have. 3 games after this.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm excited for it. Today we have, we're going to talk about a little bit about New Mexico. We got what's going to make us sweat, what's going to make us dance, TV, weather, and final score predictions. We're going to get to all of that in a sec. But first, if you haven't checked out the Get to Know with Rob Portnoy, he's the voice, the play-by-play of New Mexico. Go check that out. And we'll go a little more in-depth into New Mexico, and then we listen to that and I talk to him and base a little bit of what I say off of that and what I've learned. First things first, a little bit about New Mexico. They have 3 wins. 1 over Hawaii, 1 over UMass, and then 1 over Tennessee Tech, if that counts. They typically win 3 games. They haven't won more than 3 games, and I forget what Rob said, but in a long time. They haven't won over 3 games in a long time. And I don't know if it's going to happen this year either. They have us and Utah State left on the schedule. Last week, they lost to Boise State 42-14. And the week before that, 56-14 to UNLV. It's been a rough going. They also lost by 10 to Nevada the week before that. So they're on a 3-game losing streak coming into this with loss to Nevada, UNLV, and Boise. So I'd say based off of records, based off of wins and losses, who they played against, the Dogs are looking good there. Now, when it comes to players, Dylan Hopkins is a transfer from UAB. He didn't want to play for the Fresno State quarterback coach slash coach Trent Dilfer over at UAB. So he transferred. He followed his OC to New Mexico. They've been here. He's been, he's been playing, I guess, okay. When you look on paper, his numbers are decent yards-wise, but they're not winning games, and so we'll see about that. Their running back is big. Don't know much about their wide receivers. One of their wide receivers has most of their touchdowns. That is Jeremiah Hickson. You're going to want to keep an eye on him. 385 yards and 5 touchdowns, leads the team in receiving touchdowns, and is very close behind him in yards. Caleb Medford, great name. Caleb Medford. He's got to be a good football player if his name's Caleb. He's their leading wide receiver in yards right now. If Dylan Hopkins doesn't play, he's most likely to play, but he's coming off a strep throat. By the way, that's why my intros have been absolutely awful in the Get to Know and this one. My throat is destroyed right now. I got my tea sitting next to me, though. And Dylan Hopkins had strep throat. He should be good to go, but if he doesn't go, they have a freshman quarterback, Devin Dampier, I believe is his name. Caleb, when you look at the New Mexico team based off their record and the players coming into this game, what are your thoughts before we get to the on the field Saturday. What are your thoughts about this game?
I think in terms of the quarterback, generally speaking, Hopkins is more serviceable than New Mexico has typically had, at least in recent Mountain West, memory for me. So I think that's he's a bit of a plus, which is good for New Mexico for their sake. Their running back, Krosky Merritt, he's a legit player. Like he's quick. He can make guys miss, and the Fresno State defense is going to have to contain him, or else things could get weird in former Bulldog Stadium. So those are the two main guys there that I think can make the difference for the Lobos on Saturday. Really the running back, he's probably the best player on offense in my eyes. So
Yeah.
those are the two guys that really stand out. Besides that, I mean, on defense, they do the 3-3-5, which is, a little weird, but kind of traditional for Mountain West with all the Rocky Long influence in the conference at New Mexico and San Diego State. So definitely something that Fresno State has seen and should be ready for and hopefully exploit. I think that there's an opportunity there for Malik Sherrod to have a big game, especially with how strong he's been running lately.
I was going to ask you, what do you think Fresno State does against the 3-3-5? Does that run the ball?
I hope so. I think that it's definitely one of my concerns for this game is that Fresno State overcomplicates it. This is a game. It's a straightforward game. Just do your job. Don't get cute and get out with a victory. I know that the point spread, which we'll get to, is hovering around 24 points. Don't even look at that number. It doesn't matter. All we're trying to do is get a victory here. So, yeah, I would hope that Fresno State can just pound the ball, get Malik 100 yards, get him in the end zone, and then hopefully just kind of be just simple with the passing game. So I know that that's kind of contrary to what I feel like we've wanted in the past couple of weeks with wanting to be more aggressive, driving the ball down the field, but based off of the most recent performance with the quarterbacks making really poor decisions. I'm feeling a lot less confidence in the offense right now. So we can dive into that more, but I would love to see a big game from Malik Sherrod, just controlling the line of scrimmage. And hopefully, this new lineup for Fresno State offensive line can hang on. Dogs are bouncing back after Jacob Spomer out for the rest of the season with an ACL injury, which is devastating. So who's going to step up on that line and make plays happen?
Yeah, before we give everything away, let's get to some sponsors, and I think we'll jump right into our keys to the game, Caleb, and then we'll do what's going to make us dance and sweat and things like that because we're on a roll. We just jump straight into the game. There's no reason to stop. But first, we'd like to thank Givoli Winery, local winery in Biola, California. You blink and you miss it. Located on Biola Avenue, just north of Shaw. They're open Saturdays and Sundays, noon to 5, and on weekdays by appointment only. Give them a call. They'll be happy to pour for you. There's wine tastings you could purchase there if you want. They have on the weekends brick oven wood fire pizza, and put in your calendars now the 10th of December. I'm actually putting the sign up link together as we speak for bucket golf at Givoli Winery. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to be working with some fun people on that one. Put in the calendar, December 10th. And thank you to Givoli Winery for always supporting. And then I also want to thank the Vine Church in Fresno. Vine Church of Fresno is located on Shaw, just west of Grantland. They meet Sundays at 10 a.m. All you need yourself, come on out. If you're looking for a support group, prayer, you want to strengthen your community, and you live a little bit out west, come on out. They would love to chat with you and pray for you. And the people there are so kind, welcoming. The pastor there speaks biblical truth. If you're interested, come on out Sundays, 10 a.m. at the Vine Church in Fresno on Shaw, just west of Grantland. All right, Caleb, keys to the game. We talked about the running game. I'm right there with you, man. I think Malik Sherrod needs, because of the defense that they play, he should be able to run for over 100 yards. And because of I would say, because of how much better we are than them, he should be able to run for 100 yards on them. I would also like to see other guys get touches. if we are up and we have some room to breathe, let's get in the young guys. We can't burn their red shirt now. Well, for hopefully not. Actually, there is still a possibility. But I would love to see the young guys get in and get some practice, get some reps. They could need it. They could use it. So let's open this game. Let's blow this game wide open. Let's get 100 yards on the ground for Malik Sherrod. And I think it's one of my keys to the game. Run the ball. Just run, please. And I think I also want to say I don't know if Penwright is going to be the starting left tackle, but if he is, I think he's a better run blocker than a pass blocker. So we're going to need to use that to our advantage. We'll see. There's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot that New Mexico threats us with on the defensive side of the ball. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. And at least on the 2D, Penwright is listed as starting left tackle. So next up behind him is someone who we were anticipating coming into the season, transfer from Kansas State, Kingsley Ugwu, who we haven't seen anything from him. So hopefully Penwright can just kind of get things moving forward and be the force on that side of the ball. Another big question mark has to be quarterback. Mikey banged up last week. Seems like the last several weeks has just been really tough on Mikey's body. So Logan comes in, finishes the game, and limps the Dogs to the finish line. So who are we thinking is going to be under center for the Bulldogs on Saturday?
I'm thinking 5. I've said the same thing earlier in the year. There's no reason to put Keen out there in harm's way if he's not 100%. But I said that last time, and I was completely wrong. So, I would say 5, but I'm not going to be surprised if it's Keen.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking opposite of you this time. Just basing off of other team concussion stuff, Mac probably had a concussion earlier in the year. He was back the next game. So assuming that's what Mikey's dealing with, a mild concussion, yeah, I would expect him to be back this week, unless there was some other injury or something that's holding him up in practice too. So I think I'm expecting Mikey to be playing. He's shown that he is tough and bouncing back within a week of being able to rest. So I think I'm leaning toward Mikey. In terms of who gives us a better chance to win, I really don't know, though. I think that's kind of the more interesting question. I think that Mikey has kind of shown that he's not the Superman that Jake Haener was. I think that he can definitely get there. I don't want to diminish that too much, but
not too many people are the guy,
right?
Jake Haener. Yeah.
Exactly. So definitely still some room for growth and improvement there, and I think that this would be a big game of, hey, just play a clean game, make the right reads at the line of scrimmage. Don't do anything crazy and just run the offense. Hopefully, the coaching staff can put together, a good offensive game plan to go forward against the New Mexico defense. Excuse me.
Well, I think that's a good point. And, if you're going to put Keen out there, you're really going to have to rely on the running game. And I think that's a good thing. Because we've gotten in positions before where we decide to throw the ball 3 times in a row in the red zone, which frustrates me. So I think for McCann's confidence, he needs to be able to see our boys produce in the running game when he wants to throw. Okay, well, if Mikey's kind of hurt, we're going to run it here instead of what I usually do and throw. And when we run for 4 yards, and now it's a 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 2, short yardage, 3rd down. I think there's going to be a little bit of confidence boost in McCann rather than us throwing an incompletion on 2nd and 7, and now we're in 3rd and long, and we got to go make a play. I think that's going to help. Hopefully that happens. Hopefully we run the ball a little more than pass. And because Mikey's hurt ankle and the concussion, things like that, I think McCann's going to have to rely more on the running game. Hopefully. And by the way, I don't think that New Mexico can stop us either way if we want to run or pass. I think we can really do whatever we want. And so why not establish the running game? We did that against Boise. We looked good. I like that. Now, when it comes to defense, okay, we've given up a lot of points lately.
Mhm.
And with another strong running back coming into former Bulldog Stadium and Dylan Hopkins, who is, like you said, a serviceable quarterback. We were talking before. I don't even remember I don't remember a quarterback's name from New Mexico. This might be the first one. So there are some threats. I don't want to say that they're world beaters, but they're a threat, and they could cause some things to happen on the offensive side of the ball. What do you think our defense needs to do when talking keys to the game to win this game?
Fresno State defense needs to be able to get some sort of pressure on the quarterback. And I mean, big injury question mark still there. Johnny Hudson went down in the last game, looked like a leg injury. He is a force for the defensive line. So if he's not able to go, the guys behind him are going to have to, step up. Looking at Bumgarner and Mendoza on the defensive line, are they able to get enough of a push? And on the edges, Isaiah Johnson and Devo Bridges, those two guys need to make something happen. Just because the defensive line just hasn't gotten really the kind of pressure that we've been accustomed to, especially in the past 2 or 3 years with greats like Perales and all of those guys before. So I'd love to see some sort of pressure from the ends and making mistakes happen. If you watched any of New Mexico's last game against Boise, New Mexico was hanging in with Boise in the first half. They put together 2 really strong drives, punched in touchdowns. They were driving on a third one. We're about to score on the goal line, and they just I think the running back fumbled and gave it up, and then Boise pretty much took over from there. So this is a capable offense that is going to be able to move the ball if Fresno State isn't able to get some disruption in the backfield. So I think that's a huge key, and I'm curious to see if we see some of the blitzing schemes that Coach Coyle dialed up earlier in the season. If you think back to, even the Arizona State game where there was some interesting pressures that Coach Coyle dialed up and created the pressure on, the quarterback that wasn't able to get the ball to his wide receiver. So I think that's going to be crucial for this defense is get some pressure in the backfield.
I agree. And by the way, their right tackle is out for the rest of the season. So there's somewhere that we could take advantage. I would expect a big game from Devo and Isaiah Johnson. That's my key to the game. I agree with you. Let's get pressure on the quarterback. And then because it's senior night, Lavelle Bailey is going to have a huge game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's key that Lavelle Bailey always has a big game. We saw the one game that Lavelle, where we didn't really see Lavelle, was San Jose State, and it really hurt us. Yep. If Lavelle has a big game, we're going to be just fine. Defense should be able to bend but not break, as most people would say. I would say this year we are definitely a bend but don't break defense. And Lavelle has come in clutch for us a lot of, actually 3 games, multiple games. I would say even goal line stops and interceptions, all of the above, you name it, he's done it. So I think key defensively, Lavelle needs to have a big game, and I'm with you that if we pressure the quarterback, everything else is going to fall into place.
Yep.
And we have a good chance of doing that because their right tackle's out. All right. Anything else, Caleb? What keys to the game? I mean, we got to be good on special teams, and I think we've been great this back half of the season. I'd say after 2 games, 3 games in, our special teams has been money every game. We don't talk about special teams a lot anymore because special teams has been good. And I'm going to say it was you, Caleb. It was because of you. The episode after you said Carson just needs to boot the ball out of the stadium, he started doing that. It's awesome. I love watching and I always say it every episode, I don't like punting the ball, but when Carson's out there, he looks great, and I like what I see. And then Dylan Lynch has been good too. We haven't mentioned left hash. I don't think we've missed a field goal since, well, I don't even remember when. That's how long ago it's been. So we've looked good on special teams.
Yeah,
And
I
we broke
agree. Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely confidence on the special team, at least with the specialists, with Carson doing a good enough job of pinning it down when he can and getting a decent boot on it to flip the field. And I agree, Dylan has been a very solid kicker here down the stretch, which has been awesome. Looking at New Mexico's kicking, they've only made 6 field goals on the year. They're 6 for 9. So I wouldn't say that's a weapon for them as an offense. Granted, I don't know how many opportunities they've really realistically had to score. So, yeah, I think I would give the edge to Fresno State there. I think that as long as New Mexico doesn't try to do some weird pooch kick stuff like San Jose was able to, scramble the Bulldogs' brains last week, I think we should be okay on defense or on special teams.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned offensive line, our offensive line, but I think we should make it clear. Key to the game, keep Mikey Keene upright. Always. That's always the key to the game when it comes to Fresno State offensive line. We must protect the quarterback. As much as we want to run the ball, we are going to pass it. And when we do, I don't want to see our quarterback laying on the ground. So let's protect him, whoever it is. All right, Caleb, you got some sponsors for us?
Absolutely. So we got a couple more sponsors to thank. First, we want to thank Eastie's Wood Shop. You definitely want to check out Eastie's for your custom woodworking and home decor needs. The holidays are here. Like we talked about it, we're in week 11 now, or week 12 in the season. So Christmas is going to be here before you know it. So you need to let Eastie's bring your ideas to life. You can check out shopew.store and you can send them a message and look at their line of personalized gifts for the holiday season coming up. Use the code BEWARE for 15% off your first purchase there. Again, the web address is shopew.store. They have some really cool products, so definitely check them out. We also want to thank Manage X for their support of Beware of Bulldogs. They're a full-service property management company in the Fresno and Clovis area. They service single-family homes, small apartment complexes, office and industrial properties. And they've been in business in Fresno since 1978. And they definitely need to be your go-to team if you need property management services. So you can check out their website, managex.net, if you are interested in those services.
All right. Oh, let me get the right one here. Here we go. Everybody dance now. I'm feeling good, Caleb. I want to start on the good note.
Yep.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna dance? Oh, my goodness. What's gonna make you dance Saturday?
I'm going to set a really realistic bar here for this one. If Fresno State scores touchdowns on their first 3 drives, I will dance.
Okay.
Which I think it might seem too simple, but this Fresno State team needs to start quick and execute touchdowns because we've seen this team get behind early and then struggle to come back. So I think that's going to be really crucial for this team to just get out in front and put it to where New Mexico can't keep up, just because their offense hasn't proven that they are able to just go back and forth and score a lot of points. So keeping it simple, Fresno State scores 3 touchdowns to start the game on offense. I will dance.
Okay, I like it. I was thinking about this one. We could go a lot of different ways. I'd love to see a blocked field goal this game. Yep. If we get a blocked field goal, I'll dance. And then I'll throw in another one. No interceptions from Mikey Keene and Logan Fife. They tend to turn over the ball at least once a game. And I want to see a good game, perfect game, almost perfect game from both of them, whoever's in. No interceptions. We don't need to give away points. Let's just play a solid game at the quarterback position. So a block field goal and no interceptions. I should add no fumbles. So if we have no turnovers, I'm dancing. I'll leave it at that. No turnovers.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be a 180 flip from last game where the Dogs are turning it over. And based off of what Rob was telling us in the get to know, that's really the only way he sees New Mexico be able to win this game is if they're able to force turnovers and get short fields and just make it uncomfortable for Fresno State offense. So, yep, good pick.
Yeah, and I think it's very doable, especially if we run the ball well.
Exactly. Just hold on to it.
Yeah. All right.
As an expert on sweat and sweating, I may as well be a sweat scientist.
Yeah, what's going to make you sweat on Saturday?
I am going to be sweating if there's another big running performance by the Fresno State opponent. I think that the New Mexico running back is good, and he's capable of putting up some decent numbers. So, we saw this last week. San Jose State was able to have their way with this Fresno State defense. So if there's a repeat performance of that, Fresno State's in trouble if they're not able to solve that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think playing at home is going to be crucial. And I think that they're going to be able to sell out and just shut down the run and, make them beat them through the air, because I don't think that this New Mexico offense is capable of doing that. So, but if New Mexico's running the ball and Fresno State can't stop them, can't tackle them, I'll be sweating big time.
I agree. I'm with you on that one. I would also add, if our O-line comes out and there's no improvement from last week, and we can't protect the quarterback and we're not getting a good push up front when we're running the ball, I think that would lead me to sweat as well, because then we're not going to be able to do much. And we saw that against San Jose State. And then that forces our quarterbacks into tough, quick decisions, and we haven't been able to execute tough, quick decisions at a high level. So I agree with you on yours, and I'm going to add the offensive line. If we're not on our A game, we could have some problems. And according to Rob, they like to bring a lot of different blitz packages, and they show a lot of different things. They'll put 2 down linemen and then just have everybody else bluff and play head games with you. So we got to be ready for all of that, and it could lead to some problems. I think our guys are going to be ready for it, though. Our coaches do well enough in this film room that we should be ready for that. I believe in Coach Coyle. I mean, yeah, we've given up. It was bad against San Jose State, but this is a new week. It's in the past. Forget about it. I mean, I would love to see us do what we did. I would love to have us do to New Mexico what San Jose State did to us.
Definitely.
And I think we can do that. I'm going to finish this out with Flora Flower Co, and then we're going to get to our predictions and weather and TV and spread and what you guys can expect on Saturday, our last home game, senior night. But first, Flora Flower Co, local flower shop that supports local flower growers. And not only do they have flowers, they have gifts there for your little ones, for the women in your life. Their store hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Shepherd and Willow. And if you go in, there's a florist waiting for you to help you create a special bouquet. And then while in store or online, you can use the code Fresno15. It's Fresno, the number 15, for 15% off in store or online. And they also have subscriptions for the lady or the man who has everything. It comes with free delivery. That's, once again, Fresno, the number 15, for 15% off. Thank you, Flora Flower Co. All right. Yeah, what's it going to be like on Saturday? Because you mentioned earlier some rain. We got rain Wednesday. We got all the raisins covered, but I don't really want to think about raisins getting any more wet than they already are. What's it looking like Saturday?
Yeah, definitely a chance of precipitation on the day, about 70% chance. At game time, no rain. I'm just going to call it. It's going to be a beautiful evening. Your chair might be a little wet when you get to the stadium, but you're going to be there an hour early, so you'll have plenty of time to wipe it off. So this there's a lot of other festivities going on with this game. We have senior night, so I believe they said there's going to be 12 seniors that are going to be honored before the game. So definitely get there early, so that way you can cheer and support these guys who have given a lot of time and effort to this program. So we got that, and then at halftime, Aaron Judge and Coach Batesel are being honored and having their jerseys retired, and another ceremony on Sunday too. So Definitely recommend going to that. I'm going to try to be there because I would want to see the judge and Coach Bates will be honored there. But halftime, they're being honored as well. So plenty of other reasons to be at this game. But I'm predicting no rain, not a problem. Red Wave, get your butts in the stadium because it will be perfectly fine. And plus, the sun sets at like 4:30 anyway. So I mean, you can get there plenty early, not a problem. Kickoff, we got 7:30 p.m. It's gonna be on FS1 and also on the Bulldog Sports Network with Paul, Pat, and Cam. So that's what we have in terms of media and weather. In terms of the numbers, we got an over-under of 56.5 right now, and Fresno State favored by 23.5. So how are you feeling about the numbers?
I understand why the 56.5. We give up some points, but I mean, as a 23-point favorite, 23.5-point favorite, I don't know. It's hard for me to take the Dogs by a lot after what we've seen this year. If I'm a betting man, I'm probably going to take New Mexico to cover. I do think the Dogs win, probably by 20 or so. It's probably close, but 23.5, that's a lot of points. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see us win by 30. I think we can, but just based off history tells me it's going to be closer than everyone expects. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm seeing it the same way. Usually the Dogs with a big number, that's, I don't think Coach Tedford cares about the spread. He cares about victory. And I'm seeing this a little bit lower scoring. I do think the Fresno State defense is going to be able to contain New Mexico's offense. I'm also not expecting a huge offensive output for the Bulldogs. So, I mean, my score prediction, I'm going 30-16 victory for Fresno State. So that's under, and New Mexico's covering. In case there's some residual moisture, I think that there could be some weird stuff happening. I don't know, a safety, a mixed extra point. So you just never know with, maybe an unconventional score there. 30-16 is my pick.
I was going to go 31-14.
There you go.
So I don't think there's that many points scored, 56.5, but it'll be a fun game. And yes, I do think something weird is going to happen in our favor. And it's going to be good to honor the seniors. And what I'd like to see is, if we can, I know we talked about running the ball, but let's get EB the ball.
Yeah.
Last game, I don't think EB had a catch.
You're right. Yeah, he was without a catch last game, which is really uncharacteristic. Looking back to the beginning of the season, Eric Brooks was the go-to target for Mikey Keene, and I think he's been given extra attention by the opposing defenses. And Mikey's and Logan have done a good job at spreading the ball around and making sure everyone gets some love there. So, yeah, I love to see him get some looks, as well as Trey Watson. The New Mexico native here. We talk about him every week. He's a weapon. Let's just get the guy the ball, man. I mean, he can catch it in traffic, hold on to it, and really make some great plays. So, love to see those guys get some targets.
Rob said they like to play a lot of man. If they man up on Trey Watson, give him the ball. we should get him the ball.
Game over.
Yes, especially if it's a linebacker guarding him, get him the ball. And then if it's a DB, just throw it up. He'll slam dunk that thing. So there's no reason that Trey Watson should have less than 5 targets. Shoot, less than 5 receptions. Please look his way at least 5 times. Other than that, Caleb, what needs to happen in the Mountain West this weekend for Fresno State to even have a chance at a Mountain West championship game? To be fair, I just want all of you to know we can still make it. We also, I believe, can still host the Mountain West Championship if everything goes our way. Do you know the scenarios, Caleb?
I not off the top of my head. I mean, a big game this week, though, is UNLV Air Force. I don't really know. Who do we want to win there? I mean, I guess if UNLV wins, that knocks Air Force down, which is good because we have a tiebreaker over UNLV. So I guess we're cheering for the Rebels here and then UNLV takes on San Jose State the following week. So in that scenario, I guess we would want the Rebels to win unless the Spartans lose this week. Spartans are taking on San Diego State. That seems unlikely. We got the Brady Hoke retirement tour now, and I don't know how motivated that team's going to be now that they're out of bowl contention. So I think we need UNLV to win 2 games, and the Dogs need to win 2, and then I think that should do it for Fresno State. But I don't know what other scenarios do you see?
So I think for us to host, there has to be a 4-way tie at 6-2. So Air Force has to lose their next 2 games. So yes, we're cheering for UNLV. This is to host UNLV to beat Air Force. The tiebreaker, because of the tiebreaker, we would be 2-0 against the 6-2 teams, other than Air Force, because we didn't play them. But that would be Boise. Would that be Boise and UNLV?
Mm-hmm.
And then San Jose State we'd play San Jose State in, would it be here or no? Maybe, gosh, I don't know. I'm thinking about okay, here we go. Air Force would need to beat UNLV. Here's it. I think this is it. Boise would need to beat Air Force, and UNLV would need to beat San Jose State.
Okay, I think all of that is possible.
Yeah, and according to, I think it's to ESPN's matchup predictor or something, one of the matchup predictors, if it all goes according to those predictors, we are in the Mountain West Championship. So it's very doable. Fresno State still has a solid chance of making the Mountain West Championship. But the only thing is we don't control our own destiny. We're going to need some help along the way. And that is the worst part about all of it, that we have to rely on other people. I'd rather just win and get in. But even so, we can still we'll take care of New Mexico this week, and I'm really happy about the way our schedule worked out, because with a down San Diego State and a bad New Mexico team, that's a great way to end the season. I think I'm feeling very confident that we can win out the rest of this regular season. I don't know. You got any thoughts on all of that?
I agree. This team should be 10-2 at the end of the season. And whatever shakes out with the rest of the teams, that's just how it was meant to be. And hopefully that the Dogs are playing on, was that December 2nd or 3rd on that Saturday for conference championship.
So some last questions I have for you. We're just going to jump into college football in general, Caleb. I have never really done this, gone off topic here with Fresno State. But did you see that the NCAA denied James Madison a bowl game?
Yeah, that seems really unfair, especially for a team that is tearing it up. Aren't they undefeated still this season?
They're undefeated.
Yeah.
I think I don't even think they can compete in the Sun Belt Championship. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But what I read is that they can't compete in the Sun Belt Championship game, which is an absolute joke. Don't get me started. I think Michigan and James Madison should just leave the NCAA, kind of start their own thing on the side and start pulling people away from NCAA. Let's do our own thing. I think that would be a good way to do it. Grab Oregon. Well, I should say Oregon State and Washington State.
There you go.
Have agreed to, well, not agreed, but are in talks with Gloria Nevarez and the Mountain West to do a semi-merger. They're going to play everybody for the next, because they don't have a schedule right now. They're done.
Right.
But that would put the Mountain West, Fresno State, at a 7-game conference schedule, and then we play, was it Oregon State and Washington State? What are your thoughts on that? Or you could jump back to JMU as well.
I like the scheduling relationship with the Pac-2. I think that would be good if that works out. And yeah, I don't really know. I mean, based on what I read, the Pac-2 controls all the assets of the conference, right? So they can pretty much do whatever they want. And I mean, I would love to see them just start declaring players ineligible and just going like full dictator mode, just causing chaos here at the end of the season. But yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I think that it would be awesome if they were added to our conference in some way, or I mean, I don't even know if, Fresno State or other teams leaving the Mountain West to the Pac-2 is even an option anymore. That's beyond what we are privy to. But I think as long as they're not trying to jump to something bigger, better, Big 10, Big 12, something like that, I think that's good for us, for Fresno State.
I agree. And it would be a lot of fun to play Oregon State every year. I mean, I know it's not going to happen because we don't even play Boise every year, but something along those lines. Well, everybody, thank you for listening. I hope to see you in some form at former Bulldogs Stadium on Saturday. Tag us in your posts. We'll love to repost. Send us your pictures, or come say hi to us. Message us on social media. But cell phone service is pretty terrible in that stadium, so just bear with us. And I might be walking around the stadium saying hi because it's the last one. It's
right.
We need to get a W, man. We have to. Last 2 games, and I believe we will. This team is good enough, and New Mexico doesn't matter if it's New Mexico or New Mexico State. They're not good enough to beat us, so we should handle them no problem. Stay safe, everybody. Stay healthy. I should be telling myself that. God bless, and as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.